AEW Dynamite tonight was live from Norfolk. It was an improvement over last week's show. Last week's show was boring. Tonight, a little bit better than last week. Still, though, we are less than 2 weeks away from their biggest show of the year. It just feels like there should be just more of an energy about this show that just feels lacking compared to what we had in the build-up to All In last year. And it's not because of poor build to the key matches. I'm actually pretty excited about the key matches on this show. It's just missing something that last year's show seemed to have when we were headed into Wembley Stadium. But tonight's show was a lot more focused. And I do think that the build to the key matches tonight was very good. If you're a fan of video packages, this was the show for you. And I don't say that as a bad thing. I actually think it was a good thing because we got some great videos to hype up the MJF Will Ospreay match, Darby Allin and Jack Perry, and a tremendous video set to Green Day for Bryan Danielson at the end of the show. So all of that was very good. I thought even there was a Mariah May video as well to build to her match with Toni Storm at Wembley. So on that front, I thought that was a huge plus, and it's the sort of thing I would like to see them do more of on these shows. So many times we get, kind of like the abbreviated versions of a longer package that ends up on social media. They don't air on TV. But I do think in this case, to try to really push the key matches, it was something that needed to be done. So I thought that was good. What was not good is the fact that 4 months have elapsed since we had our last AEW World Tag Team Championship match. It was the Young Bucks winning the titles at Dynasty. That was back in April. It has taken 4 months for us to get the Young Bucks on television or anywhere for that matter, pay-per-view TV, to finally defend those titles, and it finally happened tonight in a match with an ending so flat that even AJ Styles believes in it. Not a great match between the Young Bucks and the Acclaimed, with a finish that sets up now the very predictable match coming up this weekend between the Acclaimed and FTR. So yes, we had 4 months in between AEW tag team title matches, including a team in the Acclaim that was crowned #1 contenders 2 months ago. We had 4 months to wait before getting another title match, and coming out of the title match tonight, it set up another #1 contenders match. This tag team division right now is in shambles in this company. This tag team division, the tag team situation right now in AEW is a fucking mess. And it's sad because at one time it was really, in many ways, the pillar of this company. They had the best tag team division in the world. And to see the way that it has been booked and the way that it has been handled over the last several months, really this entire year, has been a disgrace. Swerve Strickland. He was in the main event tonight, as he should be, because he is, of course, the AEW World Champion. Non-title match against Wheeler Yuta. Doesn't matter. Wheeler Yuta was in there to be a punching bag. It was Swerve Strickland sending a message to Bryan Danielson heading into their match at All In, where Bryan Danielson has said that if he does not win, he will retire. And not just, I'm going to retire from full-time competition. He has said that he will retire legit, for real, once and for all. That's it. Career over if he does not win the championship at Wembley Stadium. And Swerve Strickland went out there tonight and sent a message to him loud and clear saying, not only am I going to retire you, but I'm going to have your little girl in the front row. If your family's going to be there, she's going to be in the front row like Bryan was tonight, to get a front row seat, to watch her daddy fulfill his promise to her. Because he had told, I guess it was Birdie, that when she turned 7, he would stop wrestling. And so Swerve wanted to make it very clear he intends to make sure Bryan follows through on that promise. And they did it in a way where you would almost watch it and think that, wait, was this a heel turn for Swerve Strickland? It wasn't a heel turn. What we saw tonight was Swerve going out there and doing what needed to be done. He's going into the biggest match of his life at Wembley Stadium. And his intent, his goal, is to put this man down and add another feather in his cap, not only as the man who beat Bryan Danielson in his final match, but retired Bryan Danielson. It's a side of Swerve that we saw a lot of when he was a heel, but it's a side of Swerve that we should be seeing. It's a side of Swerve that we need to be seeing. So I like what they did with those two in the main event. We had one new match tonight added to the Wembley card, a championship match. We also had another match already announced that now has a new stipulation added to it. And we know the first entrant. We know who the first man will be entering the Casino Gauntlet match at All In for a future shot at the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. Like I said, a very focused episode tonight. Focused on things that mattered, which really was the key matches coming up in less than 2 weeks in front of the 50,000 people that they are expecting, maybe a little less, at Wembley Stadium. It did what it needed to do. I can't sit here and tell you again that it was a terribly exciting show. It was certainly better than last week, but it is still missing something. There's just something that it's missing. You know, there was a period of time earlier this year, I want to say maybe February into March, where Dynamite, I mean, Tony Khan was banging these episodes out. They were rocking and rolling, man. Dynamite was on a roll, quality-wise. I don't remember what the numbers were, but quality-wise, this show was banging out great episode after great episode. So I know they still have it in them to do that. We're just not getting it right now at a time when they are heading into their biggest show of the year, and that's too bad. But again, little victories. I enjoyed this show more than I did last week, so I'll take it. This is your AEW Dynamite review. It is Wednesday, August 14th, 2024. I am the Solomonster. Thank you all for joining me here on a Wednesday night. Happy to have you. We had a big night on Monday. So hopefully you guys will enjoy the show tonight. Do me a favor, like and subscribe while you are here. Super chats are open. Any new messages that come in, I think we have one so far, but any new messages that come in, I will read them later on in the stream. I also want to give a plug here. Anybody who would like to become a channel member and a member of our little Green World Order.
GWO.
Memberships are open, and I got to say thank you to Justin G for gifting 5 channel memberships to me before we went live tonight. Justin, shout out to you, sir. I appreciate it very much. Tony Khan got Machine Head by Bush as the official theme song, it looks like, for All In. Again, they used it last year as well. Jim Johnston actually made a pretty bitchin' cover of that song many years ago that they used. If you remember, it was the official theme song for No Way Out back in 2001. And WWE used it for some of their UK-only pay-per-views back then. I guess they never got sued for it because it was pretty clear what the inspiration for the song was. So the show kicked off tonight with the TBS champion, Mercedes Mone, defending her title against Hikaru Shida, who her all-in opponent, Britt Baker, defeated only a few weeks ago on TV. I thought it was a good way to open the show. You open with a championship match, so I thought that was smart. And no commercials as well to interrupt. I think they went the first 20 minutes of the show uninterrupted. So that was a welcome change. Late in the match, Mercedes went for the 3 Amigos. She got 2 out of the 3. Shida countered the final one into a Falcon Arrow. Camille pulled Monet outside to safety, because of course she got her insurance policy watching her back in her corner now. Pulled Mercedes out of the ring, but Camille ate a drop kick through the ropes by Shida, who smashed her with a kendo stick. Shida reared back with the kendo stick for another shot. Mercedes, though, reached out of the ring, grabbed the kendo stick out of her hand, and she was threatening to use it. She was arguing with the referee, who was telling her, in the ring to drop the stick. While this was going on and the referee was distracted, Camille blasted Shida right in the face with a big boot. And then back inside, Mercedes hit her Monet Maker to put the finishing touches on Shida to retain the TBS title. They had what I thought was a good match, but again, I have to say it, Mercedes needs a new finish. This Monet Maker, it ain't working. It sucks. It just fucking sucks. It never looks good. It's always clunky. It just looks awkward. I don't know, part of it, I think it's just the move itself, but she's also, I think, in some cases, just maybe not big enough. She's, too small maybe to hit the move in a way that makes it look good. whatever it is, she's got to find a new finish. It's just very awkward. It never looks good. And for somebody in her position, who they are positioning as one of the top faces in the company and top faces in that division, she just needs to find a more impactful move, something that's a little bit easier for her to execute. Because again, even the setup for it, it's just very clunky. I hope that she will find a new move. Britt Baker's music hit, and Camille was ready to go. She's outside the ring. She's at the foot of the ramp. She's waiting for Britt to come out. There's no Britt Baker. Camille then looks over to her right, and she sees in the front row there is a fan, dressed up in a Sting mask. Hoodie over the head, Sting mask. We've seen this before. I think Britt, I believe a few weeks ago, may have dressed up that way. So Camille pulls the fan over the barricade and begins to beat the hell out of this person. Never pulling off the mask. You would think, she would want to confirm who this person is, that it is in fact Britt Baker. But does not pull the mask off. And as she is just beating up on this person, Mercedes is in the ring. And she's got the kendo stick. And she's got her back turned. And she's watching this all play out. Then we hear the crowd, commotion. And we see Britt Baker is coming through the crowd, very casually walking through the crowd to the ring, in no great rush to get there, which I didn't understand. So eventually she makes her way down to the ring. And now she's going to take time to put her glove on her hand. Well, by this point, she's wasted so much time. Mercedes has turned around and sees her. Britt gets into the ring. Mercedes takes a swing at her with the kendo stick. She avoids the shot, and she gets Mercedes down for lockjaw, but Camille pulls Mercedes out of the ring to safety before she could get the hold applied. So this was Britt Baker's return. This was her big return post-suspension, both storyline suspension and real-life suspension. And she got a superstar reaction, coming through the crowd down to the ring. The problem is, it just feels to me like this feud peaked after that first segment in the ring where they traded promos. And after that, there really hasn't been much of anything. Now, I know Britt got suspended, so she's been off television for the last few weeks, not including her little via satellite promo on the show last week. So that may have hurt things a little bit. But there just has not been anything compelling here, really, since that first segment between the two of them. Now, I like the addition of Camille. I think that's great. And I think that we are going to get Jamie Hayter at Wembley Stadium. I hope that if she's coming back, they save it for Wembley and they don't throw her out there on TV next week. I don't think they will. That should be a Wembley surprise. But they got one more week. So maybe we get a contract signing. I know those are played out. But just something that gets them in the ring together. And maybe they could do the whole no physicality thing and just go back to what brought them to the dance here. The first thing that really kicked this thing off, which was the in-ring promo. Let's get them in the ring. Let's get them cutting promos on each other. Now, I know that is not Mercedes' strong suit. She has not had any real great promos so far in AEW. Britt Baker has been actually pretty good, I think, on the stick. So I don't know what we'll get out of Mercedes if they do that, but I think we need something like that. Right? We don't need any more of this cat and mouse bullshit. I'd like to see them in the ring actually interacting one last time before their big match at Wembley. I think that's the way to go. But Britt has really outshined her, I think, in that regard so far. I don't think that there's any real question about that. But it really does feel like they peaked. They peaked in week one, and it's almost as if they just didn't have any other good ideas to get from where they were then all the way to the 25th at Wembley, but thankfully now we're not that far away. Now, they aired footage of the chaos that unfolded after Dynamite went off the air last week, with Hangman Page going at it with Jeff Jarrett. This led to a live promo here with Renee in the back with Jay Lethal, Sanjay Dutt, Jeff, and Karen Jarrett. She said Hangman has been a thorn in their side since returning, and just as Jeff started to get all riled up, Hangman ran in, he attacked Jarrett and Sanjay before brawling with Jay Lethal to the ring to start their match, which was Hangman Page one-on-one with Jay Lethal.
I am the learning tree.
Oz and Glorious.
Thanks, guys.
Joining us tonight with a $12 learning tree. I hope you are doing well, sir. It's good to hear from you. He says hello to all of his solo branches. With any luck at Wembley Stadium, that tree is going to be chopped down. But Oz, thank you. I will get to your message and everyone else who chimes in here in just a little bit. So right as the bell sounded, Lethal hit not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, 5 consecutive suicide dives that had the people reacting big. Lethal brought Page to the apron. Hangman, though, immediately countered into a deadeye and dropped him right on top of his head on the ring apron, right on the edge. And then he sent Lethal hurtling over the timekeeper's table as they cut to commercial. Lethal tried stringing together some offense, but this was mostly all Hangman, as it should have been. Death Valley driver spiked Lethal for a near fall. Page, though, noticed he was bleeding from the mouth. That only pissed him off even more. That made him more enraged. Page kicked free from a figure 4 leg lock and applied a crossface, but Lethal countered into a roll-up for a 2 count. Lethal again went for a figure 4. Page, though, raked the eyes and then hit a huge discus lariat. Referee was checking on Lethal. He slowly rose back to his feet, ended up eating a buckshot lariat to give Hangman the win. This was a much-needed win for Hangman Page. Coming into this, he had lost his last 3 straight. He lost to Bryan Danielson in the Owen Hart tournament. He was on the losing team in Blood and Guts. And he lost to Darby Allin a few weeks ago. So he needed to get back to his winning ways, and that's what he did here. Hangman has no match announced for Wembley Stadium, which is ridiculous. But there is a casino gauntlet match on this show, with the winner getting a guaranteed shot at the AEW World Heavyweight Championship at a later date. Hangman should absolutely be in that match. I do not want to see him against Jeff Jarrett at Wembley Stadium. And it could happen. It could be a late addition to the card next week, or they could throw it on the pre-show. Hangman should be, and you want to put Jarrett in there too, be my guest. But Hangman should be in the casino gauntlet match, and he should win. Because clearly they don't have anything else better than that planned for him, but the fact that the winner gets a future AEW World Championship match is perfect. Because right now, the man that he hates the most, the man that he hates more than anything else in the entire world, is the AEW World Heavyweight Champion, at least for another 2 weeks. And so he should want to be in that gauntlet, and he should win that gauntlet. Now he's got a guaranteed championship match in his back pocket, and he could use it as soon as All Out, 2 weeks later. Assuming that Swerve comes out of Wembley as the champion, you could potentially do that match as early as September 7th in Chicago. I would actually hold off. I would hold off on that. Even if Swerve comes out of this show with the World Championship, I still would like to see them maybe hold off a little bit longer before doing that match. But if Swerve does not come out of Wembley as the World Heavyweight Champion, and right now I would say the betting odds are on that being the case, and Bryan Danielson walking out as the AEW World Champion, then you could save the match for Full Gear. Because Full Gear is going to be the 1-year anniversary of their Texas Death Match, the most violent match that I have ever seen. And it would be appropriate if 1 year later on that same show, we have Swerve and Hangman again, but this time, the World Championship is on the line. And it's incredible, too, because this feud kicked off a Wrestle Dream, okay, in October of last year. And we had the first ever match between Hangman and Swerve. And I didn't know what to expect going in, but I remember at the time, I'm like, this is great, because this could be a real launching pad for Swerve, and it's a fresh match. So I was excited going into it. I had no idea that not only would it be a launching pad for Swerve, but what we would have out of this is this blood feud between these two that almost a year later is still ongoing. And it's great. Honestly, it's my favorite thing right now about AEW. And I'm liking what they're doing with Hangman since he came back. Always pissed off, kind of the new evil theme music. And no matter what he's doing, no matter who he's in the ring with, it always comes back to Swerve. He is obsessed with this man for what he did to him last year. He has not been able to let go of what happened. As far as we know in storyline, his family's all busted up now. He had to move out of his home. He's got good reason to be upset with this man. So if they could find a way to run this back in November at Full Gear, I think that would be very appropriate. That way, if let's say that's how it happens, Tony Khan gives Bryan Danielson a solid month as the AEW World Heavyweight Champion. He'll defend the title against Darby Allin at Grand Slam later next month because Darby's got the shot, all banked and ready to go. And when we get to Wrestle Dream in Tacoma, you run it back one more time. Bryan, Swerve. Swerve gets a big win, gets the championship back, and guess what? Hangman, hey, there he is. I'm cashing in, full gear, and you do the title match one-on-one. I like that. Now, if it were me, of course, I would have Swerve win at Wembley, but in this case, I'm fine with either one of these ideas. That's how I would kind of map this whole thing out. As long as we get to Swerve and Hangman in the next few months, then it's all good. Now, they aired a long, really good video package promoting MJF against Will Ospreay at All In. This was the first of several video packages on this show, hyping up the key matches on that pay-per-view. In this video, they included footage of MJF defending his American Championship against Michael Oku in Rev Pro this past week, I believe, where Will Ospreay made an appearance after the match was over. He came to the aid of Oku's wife, who was about to eat a tiger driver from MJF, and MJF was able to escape. This then led into them in this video highlighting Will Ospreay's rise over his career, and they included footage of him from the indie scene back in his early days when he was just a skinny kid. You know, he's a little less skinny now, but, you know, pretty much looks the same. Put on a little bulk, but, you know, for the most part, still looks the same. And I just thought this was excellent. This was a long video package that we're not used to seeing here on this show. It was several minutes long, but it was very, very good. And it got me excited to see these two go at it again at Wembley Stadium. So to that end, I think it achieved what it was supposed to achieve. As I said earlier, so many times on this show, we get a lot of truncated videos because they just don't want to dedicate 3 or 4 minutes to a video package. So we'll get a minute or we'll get 90 seconds. And then you have to go on YouTube and you can see the full version of it. But tonight, not a problem tonight. And this was such a good video, I'm glad they aired the entire thing on TV. We go backstage to our old friend Pac, who asked the cameraman to tell him who is the number one contender for the American Championship. He said it's not Will Ospreay, it's him. Because he won a match to earn the right to challenge for the international title, as it was then. It's been so long now that the title has been renamed. Now it's the American Championship. He said he's sick and tired of being constantly overlooked and treated like a bum. How do you think Wardlow feels? Says that was his ticket to Wembley moment, or to his Wembley moment. But it's okay, because he said he's going to be challenging the winner of the match at Wembley between MJF and Will Ospreay for that championship in Chicago 2 weeks later at All Out. And he said that is going to take place in the same building where he beat Kenny Omega 5 years ago. And indeed, that is the case. They had a match at the first All Out in 2019, and Pac beat Omega. I don't understand why they would have Pac on television for weeks, talking about and cutting promos about getting his Wembley moment. His goal was to make sure that he was able to get his Wembley moment. Now he's content to get his championship match 2 weeks after Wembley in Chicago. So we have gone from a Wembley moment for Pac to a Chicago moment. And I just don't understand that. So is Pac just not going to be on the Wembley card at all? Or they're just going to stick him in some random match to give him something to do? Because what he should be in, he should also be in that Casino Gauntlet match. The problem with that is he's already got this international / American title match in his back pocket that he is going to receive on September 7th. We now know. He goes into the Casino Gauntlet at All In 2 weeks before that and wins. Now he's got a guaranteed AEW World Championship match. I don't see them doing that. They're not going to have him win. And now he's got a shot at 2 different championships at the same time. It just doesn't make any sense why they would do that. But if he goes in there and loses, I really don't think that he should be going in there and losing 2 weeks before he's got this big championship match coming up. So they're in a bit of a conundrum here with him. I just don't understand why you wouldn't have him on that show and, again, be talking about this Wembley moment just for him to not even be on the fucking show. So I feel like he almost has to be in that match. The idea that I floated a few weeks ago, and I've heard nothing about, them doing this. They certainly didn't set it up tonight. I thought we were going to get in this promo. I thought where he was going with this was him saying, look, I'm number 1 contender for this title, and I see that I'm left out in the cold again, so I guess that won't be my Wembley moment. So I'm going to make my own Wembley moment. And I'm going to show up, and I'm going to throw out an open challenge, because why the fuck not? Everybody else in this company throws out an open challenge, so why not Pac? At least now he has a good reason for it. I'm coming to Wembley. I'm walking out there to that ring. Anybody who wants to come out, face me one-on-one, and take my Wembley moment away from me, be my guest. Comes to the ring. We get the debut of Ricochet in AEW, because that's likely where he's going to end up. And we get Pac and Ricochet, and it's a similar thing there, because you're not going to beat Ricochet in his first match, but you really don't want to beat Pac. So I kind of get it if they don't want to do that. I just thought that would be a pretty badass idea. That'd be a pretty badass addition to the card. But I understand if they're kind of up against the wall, if Tony Khan doesn't want to do that. But for the love of God, I mean, get this man something on this show. After cutting all of these promos, I feel sorry for the bastard. He went from his Wembley moment in front of 50,000 people to a Chicago moment in a match where he is likely going to lose anyway. They aired footage of Darby Allin beating the Butcher on Rampage last week. Boy, I'm sorry I missed that, man. Man, I should go back and watch that. I think I need to go back and watch that. Darby Allin against the Butcher. Can't believe I missed that one. And they showed him teaming with Hologram on Collision to defeat the Premier Athletes. Then we got a video with Darby saying that years ago, he was killing himself on the independent circuit for nothing. Well, now he gets to kill himself, I guess. At least now he's making money doing it. He's still killing himself, but at least now he's making some good coin. But then he heard about AEW starting up, this little promotion called All Elite Wrestling. And he was living in his car, and he heard that AEW had signed Jungle Boy Jack Perry. And he wondered, who the fuck is Jack Perry? He said no one believed in his Tarzan BS, which is cool. He can be himself now, which is a child who doesn't deserve respect. Every week, Darby goes out and kills himself, and with all the stuff that Perry has pulled recently, he wishes that he would have gotten fired. At Wembley, he says, they put an end to this.
I am the learning tree.
To put an end to that.
Thanks, guys.
Jeremy Rose. Thank you, sir. Dropping a $12 learning tree, just like Oz and Glorious. So this video led to Darby making his entrance live in the arena, but he got wiped out by a charging Jack Perry, who was, I guess he came out of the crowd. He came out in front of Darby, came running up the ramp, and then just blasted him right in the head with a leaping knee strike. Perry then dragged him backstage. The two of them, they cut to the back. The two of them were brawling, only for Perry to rake the eyes, and he threw a trash can at Darby. So then Darby's laying on the ground. Perry then lowers a garage door down onto Darby's chest, and so now he is trapped under the weight of this door. Perry then goes, and he is going to roll a giant equipment case, one of those giant crates. He's going to roll it into Darby, or Darby's head, because he's laying on the ground. Security jump in the way to stop him. Perry then says he wants their match at Wembley to be a coffin match. And after the match, Tony Khan makes it official. At All In, it will be Jack Perry defending the TNT Championship against Darby Allin. And it will be a coffin match. And this will be the second year in a row at Wembley that we have a coffin match involving Darby Allin, because last year he teamed up with Sting to take on Swerve Strickland and Christian Cage in a coffin match. So this is now the second straight year. Perry is also no stranger to coffin matches or coffin-type matches because if you remember, he had that final burial match with Christian Cage at Revolution last year, which was basically a coffin match with some dirt thrown in. So both these men have experience in that, and you know what? Sure. Why not? Let's make it a coffin match because, okay, why not? We got another video package, this time with the lovely Mariah May, the glamour Mariah May. She asked if it's better to be remembered or to be forgotten, to be put in the ground or go down in flames. She says she copied Toni Storm's successes, never her failures. This year, it's all about Mariah, as Storm's biggest mistake was being alive at the same time as her. The tears, the taste of Storm's blood. Mariah has better things to do. One day she'll wonder whatever happened to Toni Storm. Don't worry, they're both going to die. It's just Mariah who will write Toni's eulogy. Good stuff. I really like these vignettes that we got tonight. I really have enjoyed the build to Toni and Mariah. I think it is the best, easily the best women's match, feud, storyline, whatever words you want to use, in the history of this company. In the 5-year history of AEW, this is certainly the richest women's storyline that they have had. And that segment where Mariah turned on Toni all those weeks ago will go down as one of the greatest endings to an episode of Dynamite in the history of this company. The match going into this show that I think so far I am more invested in than any other is this match. I know some people might say, Danielson and his whole retirement arc. Some people might say MJF and Will Ospreay. Some people might say something else, Mercedes and Britt. I know, that was funny. But for me, it's Toni and Mariah, because it's just been so long. It's been such a long kind of road to get to where we are. And I think they've done a tremendous job with it. And I'm looking forward to what I believe is going to be a more violent match than maybe some people are expecting. I think for all the blood that we saw all those weeks ago on Toni Storm's face, I think both women are going to bleed. I think both women are going to absolutely destroy each other in this match. They're going to go all out at All In. And they could have the sleeper match on the show, but going into it, this is the one that I am looking forward to, that I am more invested in story-wise than anything else on this show. Now, Renee, coming back live, was backstage with Mina Shirakawa of Stardom. She's back. She has flown back here to the U.S. No complaints from me. Anytime we get to see Mina, it's okay in my book. She says she hasn't heard from either Mariah or Toni since the split happened, but it left her heartbroken. She's never seen Mariah be so vicious or Toni be so vengeful, and she hopes that neither woman ends up too hurt after All In. The other thing I liked about this show, and this was another example of it, we had multiple instances, like at least 2 or 3 different times on the show, where they would have like a video package or some kind of vignette or pre-tape segment, and it just flowed nicely into a secondary segment or a follow-up segment involving some of those same individuals. So again, this show just felt very well put together in that way. The stories flowed nicely in a way that, Dynamite is not always like that. It can be a little chaotic sometimes. Not the case tonight, and I thought that was a good thing. We had Orange Cassidy, Roderick Strong, and Kyle O'Reilly in a 3-way match to earn the right to be the number 1 entry in the Casino Gauntlet match coming up at All In. And the announcers made it very clear that you want to be the number 1 entrant because in these Casino Gauntlet matches, they can end at any time. So you could have the first 2 people come out and somebody gets pinned, the match is over. It's not like there's a set number of people and they all have to be called out first, like the Royal Rumble or like a War Games match, right? All 10 men are in. Let the games begin. Like, it doesn't work that way. So you want to win this match as quickly as possible. So if you are the number 1 entrant, you will have the opportunity to put an end to this before the ring fills up with a whole bunch of different people. So it makes sense that you would want to be in that number 1 spot. Whoever ends up drawing number 2, though, in this gauntlet is going to be a lucky man, because unless they do a match next week for the number 2 spot, The number 2 spot's going to have a lot easier time entering the match than these 3 guys who had to fight for it. Number 1 and number 2 are basically the same, just like the Rumble, right? Everyone makes a big deal about who's going to be number 1. Nobody ever talks about number 2, yet number 2 is the same exact thing as number 1, which is always funny to me that they make such a big deal about number 1. Number 2's like, hi, I'm here. I'm well rested. So this was all action. From beginning to end, Matt Taven and Mike Bennett, they came out in the middle of the match. They were running distraction for Roddy. But Mark Briscoe and Tomohiro Ishii ran out to put a stop to that. Briscoe catapulted off of a chair, did a dive out onto the pile of heels on the outside before fighting the Kingdom to the back. Roddy had Cassidy trapped at a cloverleaf, but Kyle cut it off. There was a tilt-a-whirl to Roderick Strong, who tossed Orange Cassidy right into a DDT on O'Reilly, which was a cool visual. O'Reilly and Strong hit a high-low on OC. Both tried for a cover. Bryce Remsburg put a stop to that. O'Reilly and Strong, they slugged it out. Cassidy ran into a pump knee from Roddy. O'Reilly ate a sick kick. O'Reilly countered the end of Heartache into a submission hold, but then Orange Cassidy was there to get a crucifix, and he rolled him up for the flash pin to win the match. So Orange Cassidy is going to enter the Gauntlet at All In the number 1 spot. I don't really see this being any great surprise. I mean, if you pay attention to this show, certainly Orange Cassidy is well protected and booked as one of their bigger stars, so not much of a surprise there. Hey, look, again, I thought it was a fun match, right? Some good action here. It ties into a match coming up at the pay-per-view. I don't know how many people really give a shit about who's going to enter at number 1, but, you know, at least there was a story there going into the Gauntlet. It's a story that I feel like we have seen play out many times before with Orange Cassidy. We saw it when he was the international champion, where he defended that title almost every single week. And they played up how beat up he was and how hurt he was. And he looked half dead every week he would show up to the show. Now he's going to go in here in number 1. And he'll probably be in there for a while. And it's going to be the same story. You know, can he survive? Can Orange Cassidy's coming in at number 1? You know, can he survive it? Can he win the entire thing? I hope not. I don't expect him to. But I feel like this is the same story that they've been telling with Cassidy now for the last 2 years. Renee was backstage with Claudio Castagnoli, the number 1 contender for the Continental Championship next week, and the champion himself, Kazuchika Okada. They were both in the back. They were dressed up in their suits to be interviewed by Renee. This is to promote their match on Dynamite next week in Cardiff, Wales. So the match is not at All In. It's on Dynamite next week. I think the first official, I think it's the first international Dynamite. Certainly the first Dynamite in Cardiff, which is where the first Clash at the Castle took place in WWE. So they promoted this face-to-face all week long, which I assume was going to be in front of the crowd in the ring, but instead they just did it in the back. But you could hear the crowd audio throughout the entire segment. Claudio said he's always felt like the Continental title was his to lose. Now, Claudio cut what I would describe as kind of like a realistic, very low-key promo, like if he was in a golf tournament and, you know, they put a camera in his face on the sideline as somebody else is taking their turn, you know, at hole 15. He's almost like whispering into the mic, well, you know, my strategy didn't really work out for me here, and I thought I was going to win, but, you know, it didn't really go my way, but I have a lot of hope that I'm going to do better next time. Like, that's the kind of promo he was. I'm like, come on, dude. Show some more life here. Claudio, come on, I love you, brother, but you got to amp up the energy here. But he was talking about how it was tough to lose in the Continental Classic and not come out on the winning end. He promised that this time he would make the title shot count. Okada mockingly applauded him, said that 12 men fought for this championship, but I'm the champion. Said he's a 4-time G1 Climax winner, and Claudio will respect him. Okada said, good luck, bitch, and then walked away. And when he delivered the line, you could hear everybody in the crowd popped huge for it, because the line is over. Claudio stayed as Okada walked off, and he said that he hopes he doesn't get the elite lackey version of Okada next week. He wants the Rainmaker. He wants the true Rainmaker. The G1 Rainmaker. The Tokyo Dome main event Rainmaker. That's the Rainmaker that I want to see too. That makes two of us. Said Okada will have 99 problems and this bitch will be number one. And the crowd loved that line also. I love that line too. He needed a good closing line here, and we got it. The only change I would have made to this is, and if they want to do it in the back, that's fine, because there wasn't a lot to it, which I assume is why they did this in the back. It wasn't going to be a 10 or 15-minute segment. And Okada, for his part, again, English is not his first language, but his English is a lot better than a lot of the other international talents that you see on TV. I thought his English was fine, and again, his closing line got over, got a big reaction. The one change I would have made, I would not have had him walk off and then have Claudio deliver the remainder of the promo to the camera. I would have had him stand there and have Claudio stare him in the face and deliver those lines to his face. So it's like a minor thing, but that's the only thing I would have changed about it. I got to tell you, I would be shocked if we do not get an Okada match at Wembley Stadium. This man is one of the best in the world. They made a big deal about his signing. He is obviously one of the most, if he's not the highest paid, he is one of the highest paid stars on that, I am sure. And there were a lot of rumors that came out. He's making $11 million. I don't believe any of that bullshit. But believe me, he's getting paid very well, very, very handsomely by Tony Khan. And I just don't understand that you would have him on your roster. He's not injured. And you would not have him on the card. It doesn't make any sense to me. I just can't fathom that he would not wind up on that show in some way. Now, this match with Claudio is on TV next Wednesday. It's the final Dynamite before All In. And they're going to headline the show with it. And it's going to be a raucous atmosphere. They're going to be in Cardiff. They'll probably have a nice crowd. You know how these international crowds could be. So I think it's going to be a fun match. And I think it's going to be a fun atmosphere in that building. But I'm looking ahead and I'm saying, okay, are we going to get a disputed finish of some kind that leads to a rematch 4 days later at Wembley? And we run it back one more time. And they do Okada one-on-one with Claudio. That would be a very predictable way of going about doing it. What I'm wondering is, there's another name that I'm surprised is not on the card at Wembley, and he has not been part of the build to the show. And that's Jon Moxley, who is a fellow Blackpool Combat Club card-carrying member, just like Claudio. He's been on a little vacation. And if anybody deserves a vacation after the year he had last year, it's Jon Moxley. His vacation was overdue. But he's not hurt either. And he's one of the biggest names that Tony Khan has on his roster. The idea that Okada and Moxley are healthy and you're just not going to include them doesn't compute with me. So I'm wondering if they're getting the Claudio match out of the way, and then at the end of that next week, Jon Moxley returns, and we get the late announcement that it's going to be Moxley and Okada for the championship at Wembley Stadium. That, I think, there's a better chance of that happening. And then you get both men on the card. Not that I'm opposed to having a smaller card, by all means. Please, go ahead and slice the card in half. But not having either of them on the show when they're perfectly healthy and able to compete, it just doesn't make any sense to me. So don't be surprised if you see a different member of the Blackpool Combat Club getting that shot at Wembley Stadium.
I am the learning tree.
Samuel.
Thanks, guys.
Samuel Hayworth. Dropping a learning tree of his own. He's got a gold, silver, and bronze quite. Hey, the Olympics are over, brother. I will answer it, though, in just a little bit. We are barreling towards the Super Chat segment, so just hang on for a bit, and we'll get there in a moment. We had footage that aired of the Trios titles, #1 contenders match on Collision. It was shown between the House of Black and Bullet Club Gold with Christian Cage as the special guest referee. and the patriarchy, laying everybody in the match out. Everybody got laid out. Christian was standing tall when it was all said and done. So now we come back live, and Renee was backstage with the patriarchy and asking how the titles would be defended at Wembley Stadium. Because we were supposed to have a number one contender, and we didn't get a number one contender. So how exactly are we going to work this out? So Christian said that he called that match right down the middle. He called that match fair and square. And that's on those teams for being losers and not winning the match. He said he's going to use the Trios title as a vehicle to get back to the AEW World Championship. He will hold every title in this company until he gets that AEW World title back. Is that a promise? Look, anytime we put a title on Christian, because Christian is fantastic, that's okay with me. Remember that old, there was a graphic or a meme that went around for so many years. It was Triple H posing on the turnbuckle, and he had every title on him. Like he was doing the Triple H pose, and he had every championship hanging from his arms and around his waist. Let's do that with Christian Cage in AEW. Hey, fine with me. But that's his goal. His goal is to get back to the AEW World title. Now, he said that he's not going to be there for his son, Nick Wayne, who's going to be wrestling on Rampage this week against that fatherless weirdo, Kip Sabian, because he hates Norfolk, so he's not sticking around. But Renee questioned if that's due to him not wanting to be around for, be around a couple of teams who are going to want their revenge for what happened on Collision. Christian told her to get lost and go be a mother, and then he added that she's probably a worse mom than she is an interviewer. What a prick. This guy is a prick. I think it's great. This guy's doing the best work of his career over the last couple of years. Christian Cage must be protected at all costs. I know at some point we're going to get Copeland and Christian. They're going to do the Edge and Christian team again. But we need to keep him heel for a little while longer. I'm not ready for babyface Christian yet. He's too good as a heel. We go to the ring. Tony Schiavone is in the ring, and he points to the sky. Now that Sting is retired, they have given the Tony Schiavone call to Hook. So he screams, "It's Hook." So we see the Hook signal. Hook comes down to the ring. He's got one bandage over one eye. It's a one-eyed man. He's like Tonga Loa now. We have Tonga Loa with his eye patch on SmackDown. Now we have Hook with the bandage over his eye on Dynamite. Because he was blinded a month ago by Chris Jericho and a fireball. I guess his eye still has not healed. He looks like fucking Harvey Dent. So Schiavone asks, how's the eye doing? Now, if I were Hook, I would say, Tony, I have a fucking bandage over my eye. How do you think my eye is doing? He was a little more respectful. He said, Tony, I can't see out of this eye. But he says that he can see just fine out of the other one. He said he wants to fight Jericho for his FTW title right here, right now. That brought out the learning tree. Chris Jericho, Big Bill, Brian Keith. They make their way out onto the ramp. Jericho calls him a stupid son of a bitch. He acted like he was going to give Hook what he wanted. You want your match? Right? He's getting ready like he's going to, take his jacket off. He's going to put the title on the line. He says, no, not worth my time tonight. It will, though, be worth my time at Wembley Stadium. He said, but there are a few caveats if you are going to get this match. He said that Hook will get his match, but this is going to be his last shot at the FTW Championship. If he does not win at Wembley Stadium, that's it. He does not get another crack at the title. And when he loses, says Hook is going to walk away from the Jericho Vortex forever. Now, you and I both know no one ever truly escapes the Jericho Vortex. We haven't been able to escape it for the last 5 years. It's like a fucking magnet, right? You try to get away, but just the magnetic pull, it's too much. It's too much to overcome. The other caveat is that next week, Hook is going to have to go through Big Bill. Bill chimed in. He said that he's going to beat Hook down. He's going to shove him up Taz's ass. And Taz had a nice little chuckle on commentary about that. So in the ring, Hook accepted. And by the way, this was probably the biggest promo of Hook's career. I don't think I've ever heard him speak this much in a single segment. He did well. He did well. You can hear that New York accent coming through. But he did well. But Hook accepted. He said that he looks forward to dumping Big Bitch on his head. Big Bitch on his head. I like that. I like that. And tearing Jericho limb from limb. After Wembley, Jericho will never, ever be the same again. Jericho, interestingly, did not say that Hook has to beat Bill in order to get his title shot, which is probably what he should have said. I don't know why he wouldn't have said that. That would make more sense. Now, it doesn't mean that it won't end up that way, but if not, what I'm hoping that doesn't signal is some kind of a cheap DQ, which is probably what we're going to get. But by him not saying that, that's my fears, that that's exactly what we're going to end up with next week. But thankfully, we see a light at the end of the tunnel. The belt is coming home. The meaningless belt that I don't possibly, give a shit about. But the belt is coming home to Hook. It will be away from Chris Jericho. And hopefully this feud will finally be put to sleep like a sick, dying animal, because I am done with this. This needs to be done at Wembley. Last year, Hook, if you remember, he wrestled Jack Perry, and then all hell broke loose. But Hook had his moment then. Hook will have another moment for himself here at Wembley, which will give him one moment more than Pac. Poor bastard. Then we had the Young Bucks against the Acclaimed for the AEW World Tag Team Championship.
I am the learning tree.
Tuxedo T Servo.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you for the 12. Another 12 drop here from Tuxedo. Too much Jericho. Between what I just reviewed and now that, too much Jericho on this show. But we had our Tag Team Championship match. This was the Bucks' first title defense and the first AEW World Tag Team title match since Dynasty. Do you know when Dynasty was? And don't tell me the 1980s, you smartass. Yes, I know. I watched some episodes. Now, Dynasty was April 21st. That's a long time ago. That's a long gap to not have your tag team titles defended. It is beyond ridiculous, especially with all the talent that they have on that roster, the teams they have, the talent they have, to not have a single title defense in 4 months in a company that once boasted the best tag team division in the entire world. It is inexcusable. So I will say that right off the bat. I don't care what kind of deal the Young Bucks have. They may have dates, and Tony Khan doesn't want to go over dates to pay them more. I don't know how their contracts are structured. There's been that report going around. That's why we haven't seen the Bucks on TV as often, because they have a certain number of dates, and if Tony Khan goes over those dates, he may have to pay them extra. I don't know if that's completely accurate or not. If it is, it's still bullshit. Then don't have the belts on them. You could say that about any part-time champion. You put the belts on somebody, they don't show up, they don't work, they don't defend the titles for months and months at a time. How do people find this exciting? I don't understand it. Like, when I mentioned this about Logan Paul, I had people coming after me. Like, I'm the problem. How do people find this exciting? Let's put a belt on somebody and let them sit at home for 3 or 4 months. Oh yeah, that's great. That's riveting. That's riveting television. Now, the other thing to keep in mind here is that the Acclaimed also earned this shot 2 months ago. So they've been sitting on this match waiting, and they finally got their match here tonight. Caster and Bowens, they attacked the Bucks on stage before the match officially began, as Bowens dove off the stage onto both men. As the match spilled into the ring, the Bucks gained the advantage, and the bell officially sounded, so we were underway. Billy Gunn, after all this, walked to the ring to a big ovation. Matt Jackson escaped the Scissor Me Timbers and rolled to the floor, but he found himself trapped with Caster on one side and Billy Gunn on the other. So he had no place to go. Hey, shout out to the Toronto Kid. He says, Solo, what up, baby? What up, Toronto Kid? How's the weather up there? I hope you're doing better than I am right now. See, you can't tell, but I'm in some pain right now. I had my first root canal yesterday, which I would still subject myself to that again rather than sit and watch a whole series of Learning Tree segments. But yeah, I'm throbbing over here. So hopefully you're having a better day than I am. So he's trapped on the outside, as I said, between Billy Gunn and Max Caster. Nicholas took out Caster with a kick as Billy chased him around ringside with a chair. Referee Rick Knox, though, caught him in the act, and he ejected Billy Gunn from ringside, and the people were not happy about that. So after a second commercial break, we had two of them here. Caster made a hot tag. He ran wild. All four men, they dodged double clotheslines before everybody collided. We got the reset with everybody down. Caster missed a corner splash, which allowed Nicholas to try a swanton. Caster, though, got the knees up. As Caster reached for Bowens, Matthew was there to powerbomb him onto the ramp. Caster kept reaching for the tag despite seeing his partner just get taken out. As the Bucks went for the TK driver, Rick Knox, though, got bumped. And Rick Knox was down long enough for Matthew to hit a low kick. So Matt threw one of the tag team title belts into the ring, and now here comes FTR. We got FTR bald, we got FTR hair. They come down to the ring, Bald gets into the ring, and he takes the belt away, and Matthew spits in his face. You don't spit in a man's face. So he double legs Matthew down to the mat, and Rick Knox sees this. And Rick Knox calls for the disqualification to this tag team championship match, which of course gives the win to the Young Bucks. And the Young Bucks retain their titles. Billy Gunn comes down to the ring. We've got security with him. The Acclaimed and FTR, they had to be separated. They've been beefing now for weeks, mostly on Collision. Renee was backstage. They cut to her immediately, and she's watching all of this play out on a screen, standing next to Christopher Daniels, who is the surrogate for Tony Khan, who we know is sitting just feet away from where they are. So instead of just going over to Tony Khan and asking him, what do you think about this? What are you going to do about this? I guess he has delegated that responsibility now to Christopher Daniels. And so Daniels says that it's a complicated picture right now, the whole tag team title picture, but he has a simple solution. I thought he was just going to go ahead and make a three-way match, but instead, what they're going to do is on Collision this Saturday, they're going to have a match. And it is going to be the Acclaimed taking on FTR. The winners of that match will get a shot at the Young Bucks and the AEW Tag Team titles at All In. So let's evaluate where we are now. After waiting 4 months, what we got here was a very average match with a fuck finish to lead to yet another number one contenders match. Hardly feels worth it. A match, by the way, a match that will likely end on Saturday. If I had to wager a bet, a match that will end probably with some other non-finish, disputed finish. The Bucks maybe get involved, although maybe not, right? Because you only got so many dates on them. But I'm not so sure we're going to get a clean winner on Saturday. And where we go from there likely would be a three-way match with FTR and the Young Bucks and the Acclaimed. All three teams. Could be a straight match, could turn it into a ladder match. We've had more than our fill of ladder matches, I think, between WWE and AEW over the last 3 months, but I could see that potentially happening. But that's where I see this going. If not, and we get a clean finish, look, I am at the point now where, I remember those first 2, 3, maybe matches that we got between FTR and the Young Bucks. The first one was in front of no real fans. The second one, I think, was the one on Dynamite a few years ago. That was an outstanding match. And they also had a very good match at Wembley last year. I do not have any real interest at this point in seeing the Bucks and FTR again at Wembley Stadium. They were at Wembley against each other last year. We saw it then. We saw them again at Dynasty in April. Now we're probably going to get it again. If we get it, just those two teams, I don't have any interest in seeing it. Yes, I know we're going to get a very good tag team match, but I'm over it. You can get too much of a good thing. At some point, you get tired of it, and you want them to just move on to somebody else and something else. So I would rather it be a three-way match, because at least if you throw in the Acclaimed, it's something different. You'll have that extra team in there. But I just can't bring myself to be excited about having yet another match between the Young Bucks and FTR. You would think they have no other teams in this company. So I just don't care about any of this. I really don't. I really don't. And this all, it just feels very uninspired right now. You know, what we're seeing here in this tag team scene. Uninspired, I think, is a very good word for it. The tag team scene in this company is just ice cold. And it didn't have to be this way. And it never used to be that way. So for me to sit here and feel this way about a division that at one point, like I said, I'll put that tag team division in AEW in 2019 and 2020 up against any other tag team division of wrestling at that time. Or frankly, even any tag team division of wrestling today. But that's not what we have now. Whatever we had 3-4 years ago, that ain't this. And that's a damn shame. Because that used to be something that really helped them stand out and stand apart from WWE and other promotions. And now I actually think it's more of an Achilles heel for them than anything else. So in a night of video packages, we were not done yet. Because they saved the best for last. We had a Bryan Danielson video package set to Green Day's Good Riddance, Time of Your Life, which I will forever associate with the Seinfeld finale. It included footage from Bryan's time not only in AEW, of course, but also Ring of Honor, because Tony Khan owns the library. Footage from New Japan Pro Wrestling, some PWG footage in there as well. All but WWE, which you knew you weren't.
I am the learning tree.
Hey, AJ Files, thank you, man.
Thanks, guys.
You knew you weren't going to get. You knew you weren't going to get WWE footage. It would be nice if you would have tried to reach out, which I'm sure he did not. There are times in the past where I thought maybe he reached out and got rejected, and then we find out after he never even reached out. So I just think the bad blood there is such that even picking up the phone or through an intermediary saying, hey, look, you know, we're doing this match and Bryan's going to be retiring, whether he is or not. And, you know, Bryan was such a big part of your company for so long, very well respected. We'd love to have access to some footage for a video package we're putting together. I just wish they at least had a relationship that would allow them to do that, right? Not necessarily talent trade, but for all the talk, when Tony Khan gets asked about the possibility of one day working with WWE, and he gives that answer of, hey, yeah, maybe I'd love to. No, he wouldn't. Because he hates them. He hates them for a multitude of different reasons. He hates them for contract tampering. He hates them for fucking with his product and their PR team for fucking with his media rights deal. He fucking hates them. And it's too bad we couldn't get a fuller video package, but I think with the limited footage that they had access to, they did an excellent job with it. I love this. It ended with Bryan's quote where he said, if you fight for your dreams will fight for you. They showed Danielson ringside after this. He was in the front row for the main event, which was Swerve Strickland one-on-one with Wheeler Yuta, non-title. Danielson was there at the request of Swerve because he wanted him to have a front row seat to see what he was going to do to his little buddy. Strickland wasted no time. He sent Yuta to the outside right in front of Danielson. He slammed Yuta into the ring steps. He slammed him into the barricade, saying, this is just an appetizer. I'm going to retire you, as he looked over at Bryan. Back in the ring, Yuta tried fighting back. Strickland, though, hit the uppercut out of the corner and again mocked Danielson, who was basically in the front row cheerleading for Wheeler Yuta, trying to, root him on. Yuta went up for a dive. Strickland sidestepped him. Yuta crashed and burned. Strickland applied the label lock. Yuta rolled out into an ankle lock. Strickland tried a rolling flatliner. Yuta, though, sidestepped, hit a snap German. Tried for cattle mutilation, but Strickland escaped, and both men slapped the hell out of each other. And Swerve just absorbed the blows with a smile on his face. Not surprising for a guy, if you think back to the Texas death match last year. He was stapled multiple times. I think he may have actually started stapling himself with the staple gun and just laughed it off, which totally killed the spot, but okay. I mean, it only makes it harder for people to buy into this shit when they do hardcore stuff. The staple gun is supposed to be this devastating thing. You're not supposed to kill the gimmick by, taking staples to your body and smiling and laughing about it. But if that doesn't bother him, if that doesn't faze him, I don't think some slaps from Wheeler Yuta are going to do much to Swerve Strickland. We got 3 house call kicks that connected flush. Strickland rained down stomps and punches until Bryce Remsburg called a stop to the match right around the 10-minute mark. Honestly, that was at least 5 minutes longer than this should have gone. Swerve is the champion right now. He's going into this big main event. Yuta, look, for the love of God, why does Swerve need to go 10 minutes with this guy? What you did here in 10 minutes, you could have done this in 3 or 4. So it did not need to be as competitive as it was. Strickland, though, would not stop. So Danielson jumped the barricade. He hit the ring as the champion bailed. Strickland took the microphone as he was walking up the ramp and leaving. He was looking behind him and speaking and said that he had a message for Bryan. He said that that's just an example of what he is going to do to him in 2 weeks. And he asked Bryan, are you going to be bringing the family with you? He said, right where you were sitting tonight, where he was standing for most of the match, the same thing is going to happen for your daughter as she watches her dad wrestle his last match. So as Danielson had his back turned and he was kneeling down tending to Wheeler Yuta, Swerve sprinted back down to the ring. He had a house call kick to Danielson. And then he stood over his body doing the yes chants with the fingers up in the air as Prince Nana danced around. Not so much a heel turn, although if you watch it, it would kind of come off that way. Not so much a heel turn as much as the champion sending a very direct message to his challenger in the main event of the upcoming pay-per-view. Swerve does not play around. He will do whatever it takes. And we saw this even before he was champion. We saw this in the feud with Hangman. This is why Hangman lost his mind. Swerve takes it way too far, but he will do what needs to be done to get the win. In this case, he will do what needs to be done to hold on to his title and to go down as the man who retired Bryan Danielson. So it may not be a heel turn, but they are clearly doing everything in their power to set up for either Bryan getting his big celebratory moment or Bryan, being set up basically for heartbreak and having a legitimate retirement at All In. I cannot see him being done for good. I just can't. I think that everything that we have been seeing and hearing from him, he's been doing a lot of interviews, and he has talked about how I'm probably going to need neck surgery before this year is over. I call bullshit on that. I call bullshit. I think all of this is designed to play off of the neck injuries that go back at least as far as Dynasty, when Will Ospreay dropped him on his head in the Tiger Driver. A move that Ospreay has not done since. He refuses to. And I think we'll get it at Wembley, and when he hits it on MJF, the place will explode. But ever since then, it's been all about his neck. It's been all about his health. And, can Bryan, can he make it through the Owen? Can his body hold out on him? This is the story. And it's all to portray him as the ultimate underdog going into this main event. The beaten down, broken veteran who is being held together by glue and needs surgery, but he's going to try to win that one championship that he's never won before. And Tony Khan, I think, is going to probably want to give him his big moment, at the end of the show. But again, I think all of this is just, not that Bryan isn't beat up, but I just think it's all BS. And it's all to build to what will probably be his defining moment at the end of that Wembley show. On the whole, I enjoyed the show more than I did last week, but it is still lacking something. It doesn't feel like their biggest show of the year is 12 days away, or 11 days, or however many days it is. 10 days. I think it's 10 days away. Doesn't feel like it. Next week is the final Dynamite before All In. I'm expecting a better show. I'm expecting a hot crowd. I'm expecting a great match. I'm looking forward to Okada and Claudio for the Continental title. We'll see if what I mentioned actually ends up coming true, if Jon Moxley comes back and they set something up for Wembley, because I just can't imagine Okada is left off that show. But the tag team title situation, it's a mess right now. The women's situation going into Wembley, we've got two big matches. One has lost a lot of steam over the last few weeks. The suspension didn't help. The other one is the match I am looking forward to the most. It really is in many ways the tale of two matches. When you compare Britt and Mercedes to Mariah and Tony. Britt and Mercedes is the more marquee of the two matches. You have Britt Baker, the face of the AEW women's division now for the last 5 years, and Mercedes, who came in with a lot of fanfare and a lot of success coming from that other place. And she was out for a long time, and this was her big return, and Tony Khan signed her, and she had this big debut in Boston. And now these two are meeting for the very first time. It should feel like a bigger deal. And it's the other match that I'm way more excited for. I'm really looking forward to. And hopefully the return of Jamie Hayter. But the key matches on this show, they're building them nicely, I would say, on the whole. And we'll see. You know, Tony Khan is going to add a bunch of matches to this card next week. I shudder to think how many more matches he's going to throw on there. But I know it's coming. You know, he's going to try to squeeze as many people in there as he can. I just hope we don't end up with a 5-hour show out of it. Let's take a look at the Twitter poll. What did you think of Dynamite here for August 14th? 40% thumbs up, 27.6% thumbs in the middle, and 32% thumbs down for Dynamite. That is with over 1,200 votes in so far. So at Solomonster is my handle. You guys know that. You know the drill. By the way, you should go over to my X anyway, my X profile, because I tweeted out a video that Sami Zayn actually put out earlier this afternoon. And this is one of the craziest things that I've ever seen. Now, if you saw Raw on Monday night, there was a moment in that main event with Braun Breaker and Sami Zayn where they were outside the ring. And Braun got him up on his shoulder and he ran towards the timekeeper's barricade and he lawn darted. He yeeted this man over the barricade into the other barricade. And we got this first-person view, like right over Braun's shoulder. The camera just follows. Great camera angle. Sammy posted the same video, but when they hit the barricade, it's a side shot. And somehow it looks even worse from that angle. How this man didn't fucking die, I will never know. I mean, you got to look at the reactions of everybody in the background, including some of the staff that are right there. This is one woman. I don't know what her position is. Her mouth is just like, her jaw dropped. Everybody in the first 5 rows, their mouths just dropped. They couldn't believe what they saw. So I put that video up, and then it just people ran wild with it. Last I checked, it had like 6,500 likes, and it was still going. It was spreading around like wildfire. But if you didn't see it, you need to take a look at that clip. He is very lucky that he made it out of that spot okay, because that looked very dangerous. That looked very scary. Braun Breaker's a scary cat. That's what happened, man. Yeah, he got yeeted. He got yeeted over the barricade into the shadow realm. That's exactly what happened. Oh, man. Braun Breaker. All right, let's take a look at your super chats. Thank you for everybody who has dropped the dono so far or gifted membership like Justin earlier. I do appreciate it very, very much. So, thank you. Let me go through these here. And we're going to start out with Ace of Masta, who has a message here saying, poor Adam Cole. Adam Cole got beat up by Camille tonight. Jerome Eugenio, do you think this crazy and violent Hangman character will eventually turn babyface? Brother, everybody eventually turns heel or babyface. So yes, eventually we will get babyface Hangman back. Not for a while, though. Not until this issue with Swerve is over. When this issue with Swerve is over, I think he goes back to being a babyface. Dev to Dust. Johnny Gargano looks like Tom Cruise. I don't think Tom Cruise is that short. Oz and Glorious. Another decent show. Really missing Mox, Omega, Jay White, Jamie Hayter, and not Disco Garcia. Thank God Mina has returned to save us. Yeah, it's too bad we didn't get Kenny back in time to do that match with Okada at Wembley. I mean, that would have been the perfect place for it. The Juliet says Samantha Irvin broke the internet again. Oh my God, she posted another photo? I must have missed it. I didn't see it. Savoy. Food Hive plus Mina equals foe. Oh, I'm sorry. Pho. I did it again. I called it foe. It's pho. Forget about it. Forget about it. Bada bing, bada boom. That's how it goes. Forget about it. Oz and Glorious. Tony Khan, please sign Samantha Irvin for $1 billion. What is this Samantha Irvin? Are you going to make me go look again? This is the second time that I have been forced on a live stream to go take a look at what this Samantha Irvin stuff is all about. But she asked for her release or something. What are you talking about here? Samantha Irvin. I really don't. I don't. And the first thing I see, I search for Samantha Irvin, and the first thing that I see is a picture of AJ Styles doing the fake retirement, nearly in tears, with his arms raised like this. I'm searching here. I don't know what I'm supposed to be looking for. You guys are out of control. Food Hive says, oops, Savoy's my account too. I would still Mina. I was gonna say you were logged into the wrong account there, weren't you? That was your burner. Tom Cruise is 5'6". Well, then Johnny must be 5'3". Jeremy Rose. MJF needs to retain at Wembley because this American heel gimmick is money. Make Ospreay work all year to get a rematch and beat MJF next year at Wembley, giving this title some meaning. So you would do MJF and Pac then in Chicago. I don't know if I see that as the match, though. By the way, if MJF loses, Will Ospreay said he was going to restore the international title. That doesn't mean that MJF can't walk around with his American championship. He can still be the American champion. And they could let Ospreay be the... Not that I'm advocating for more fucking titles in this company. But just because he loses does not necessarily mean that the American title gimmick is going to go away. It's on her Instagram. Okay, so you're going to make me search for her Instagram now. Samantha Irvin Instagram. All right. At Samantha Irvin WWE. And well, all right then. God bless Samantha Irvin. Oz and Glorious says, hit that like button. Although he said it a little more derogatory than I just did. Yes, indeed. Hit that like button. We're lagging behind on the likes. Bender McSimpson says, great show tonight. Really like Shida and Mone. Wish it had more time. Swerve can do no wrong. I think Swerve's doing great. Oz and Glory says, Pac losing out on Wembley thanks to Conan and the Fed. What? Samuel Hayworth with 12. Gold, silver, and bronze. Take a Bronco Buster from a naked Wade Keller. A stink face from a naked Sean Ross Sapp. Or take the Nasty Boys pit stop from Meltzer and Alvarez, also naked. Samuel, I think you have serious issues that need to be dealt with. I hope. I think that $12 would have gone better towards a therapist. I don't know why you would put these images in people's heads. I would not give the gold, silver, or bronze to any of these people. In fact, I would run far, far away from these people. So the answer is they get nothing from me. I choose none of them. Tuxedo T Servo, thank you for the 12 bucks. Jarrett Rodriguez. Every time I see Big Bill come out with the learning tree, I get pissed off at Enzo for screwing up all those years ago. Definitely would prefer the Enzo and Cass act over whatever the hell this is. AJ Files. Hi, Solo. I made a website. Can I email you the link? Sure. Demeter Bullion. Oh, boy. Oh, no. Demeter Bullion, CM the junkie with dumb, stupid ears. You made me read all that for 65 cents. You know, I only get 70% of that. Take 30% off of that 65 cents. Thank you, Demeter. Demeter, I can't even speak. Be calm, see clearly. The all-in card better not be 20 matches long. It won't be 20 matches long. It'll only be 15. Jarrett Rodriguez. Which overdone pairing of tag team puts on the better matches in your opinion? The Usos and the New Day or FTR and the Young Bucks? They both have had matches that I've enjoyed, and they both got to a point where I was just tired of seeing it. I would say FTR and the Young Bucks, though. If I had to, rank one over the other in terms of quality of the matches, it's FTR and the Young Bucks. They get my vote. And Ed Swoggle. I personally would not mind a long card for All In, since it is in the middle of the day for us anyway. The ones that go into tomorrow are what I can do. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether it's at night or in the middle of the day. I don't want to sit here from 1 o'clock until 6 o'clock watching wrestling and then turn around at 6:30 and go live for another 2.5 hours. So again, I'm speaking for myself on this. I feel like even if I wasn't reviewing the show immediately after, if I wasn't a content creator, I still don't want to sit here for 5 or 6 hours watching wrestling. There is a point where it just becomes too much. But as a content creator, I really hate it. Because it's going to start 1 o'clock Eastern time here on the East Coast. That show's not ending before 5. And it's very likely going to go closer to maybe 6. And so then we go right into the live stream. So I'm basically blocked off now from 1 o'clock, not counting the pre-show, which I think would be at like 12. Blocked off from 1 o'clock to pretty much, I would say, probably 8:30 at night. So, I mean, dinner is fucked, right? There's no dinner for me. So yeah, you can understand why I would be a little irritated by that. Kel with the $4.99. I would frost Samantha's cakes better than Martha Stewart. Kel, that was a little too much information for me. I don't necessarily blame you, but thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing that. Which reminds me, maybe I think for breakfast in the morning, I'm going to have Frosted Flakes. Thank you for the super chats, even the weird ones. But you can get it all done in one day again? No, I'm not going to be able to get everything done in one day. I got to do the sound off on Saturday that week. You know, the sound off drops on Sundays. It's recorded on Sundays. It drops on Sundays. So I already know that All In is fucking that weekend up. So I'm going to try to get the podcast done a day early. I hate being off schedule like that. It just throws me. It just throws me for a loop. But we'll get it done. We'll get it done. That's a me problem. That's not a you problem. You don't have to worry about it. That's for me to worry about. We are currently sitting at 370 likes, which means no Be the Booker tonight. So we will try again on Friday. Boy, it's been a while since we missed the goal. This is what I mean. You could just feel the energy is off for AEW right now. We don't have these issues on any of the other streams. But it's become more prevalent on the AEW ones. And so I can feel it even on my end, that the energy for the AEW product just is not what it was even a few months ago. Like, it's just off. Something is missing. The Winston Slip. What is Bryan Danielson's wrestling legacy? What? What is his wrestling legacy? I mean, he will go down as one of the all-time greats as far as wrestling technicians. He is a great professional wrestler. And I think that he picked up the character work, too, in WWE. So it's not even just that his in-ring work is great. I do think that will be his legacy, though, that you could put him in the ring with almost anybody, and he will be able to pull a great match out of them. And he is able to get the crowd invested in a way that few people are able to do. He got over in a way that he was never supposed to get over in WWE. He got over in spite of the way they booked him. And that's special. That takes a special talent to make that connection with the crowd. But he will go down for his wrestling skills and his great matches. Even Uncle Dave over there named an award after him in The Observer, right? So, I mean, that really, I think, more than anything is what he'll be known for. Justin says, that's the wall, brother. Lives rent-free. One of the all-time great wrestling moments. How he spotted him from, well, I don't even know, 100 yards away, whatever it was. It's just one of those ridiculous wrestling moments that just makes me laugh and puts a smile on my face. Oz and Gloria says, Conan and the Fed regarding Death Triangle. Yeah, but what does that have to do with Garcia? You mentioned Daniel Garcia. Todd Warner, will I see the new Crow movie? I didn't see the last Crow movie, so no. I am going to see the new Beetlejuice movie, though, when it comes out. September 6th. I may not see it on the 6th. Maybe I'll see it that Sunday, but I will be seeing the Beetlejuice movie, not the Crow movie. There's also a new Alien movie coming out. I haven't seen the last few. I'm on the fence with that one. Romulus, I think it's called. Like, I know Prometheus I didn't see. You can let me know if I should. Justin G, early like goal, midstream buzzer beater. Oh, I don't know. Doesn't look like it, Justin. And Chris Manson, Mariah needs to give Mina a butt whooping next week. I think so. I don't think they flew Mina all the way in from Japan just to do one little backstage segment with Renee. So to put more heat on Mariah, I do think that they're probably setting something up with her and Mina for next week's show. I think that would be the way to go. I do. Justin getting one in here right here at the end. Gold, silver, bronze, axe, smash, and crush. I was always more of a smash guy than, hey now. more of a Smash guy than an Axe guy. So I got to go in that order: Smash, then Axe, and then Crush. Demolition was the shit until they turned into a trio. That was the beginning of the end. They weren't the same after that. Then they changed their music. Then which was fantastic, and then they changed it to some generic garbage when they went heel. And then LOD came in, and then Vince McMahon just basically discarded them and said, well, I got LOD. I have no need for these guys now. It was embarrassing. Embarrassing the way they discarded Demolition like that. The Juliet, best heel turn of all time. I am partial to the Randy Savage heel turn on the main event when he turned on Hulk Hogan. That's one of my all-time favorite angles. That would probably be at the top of my list. In AEW, I might go with Mariah May when she turned on Tony Storm. I think in terms of AEW, that one's hard to top. But overall, I always go back to that Mega Power split angle. It was just so great. Devin from NJ. My colleague in Fresno was explaining to me the difference between fans and marks. Is there a difference, or is it all the same shit? All the same shit. All the same shit. All the wrestlers and all the idiot fans who throw that word around in a derogatory way. Oh, what a mark. Oh, what a mark. Sometimes you'll hear wrestlers, I think I've heard Conan say, like a mark podcast, right? They're all marks. The ones who are throwing that word around are usually the biggest marks of all. So when you hear a fan on social media, oh, what a mark, right? You're a mark. They don't realize it, though. In their head, they don't see themselves as one. But guess what? You are. We all are. There really is no difference. Tuxedo T Servo. Look at those likes. Hey, let's take a look here, because we weren't looking good before. And now we are sitting at 406, which is great. It shouldn't take that long, though, to get there. We shouldn't have to do it right there at the very end. It should be an automatic before the review is even over. We should be at least 400 every single stream. Unregistered Hypercam 2. Gold, silver, and bronze. Repo Man, Blacktop Bully, and Mr. Hole-in-One. Repo Man number 1, Mr. Hole-in-One is the silver winner, and the bronze goes to Blacktop Bully. Repo Man, easily the best of the three. What's mine is mine, and what's yours is mine too. All right, we hit the goal, so let's be the booker.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time to be the booker.
It is a Wednesday night, and it is time for us to go ahead and book some matches. So let us begin. These messages are going by so quickly, I can't even keep up with all of them. I should start raising the Be the Booker goals. You know what? I think you're right. I think I should. I think I should start raising them, but then we probably will end up not doing Be the Booker as often, which, you know what? Maybe that's not such a bad thing. Maybe we keep it special that way. Maybe the goal should be 500 per stream. But I don't know. After tonight, I don't know if you guys have what it takes to even hit that goal. All right, here we go. Tag team Be the Booker. Start out with maybe the most decorated tag team of all time. You see them here draped in gold. The Dudley Boys. Bubba Ray and Devon. Tag team titles across multiple promotions. And we have the Dudley Boys stepping into the ring with the American Males. The Dudley Boys and the American Males, Marcus Alexander Bagwell and Scotty Riggs. How are we feeling about this match? I am on the fence. I'm leaning towards one direction, but how are we feeling about this? I don't know. I'm genuinely conflicted right now. I really am. I'm genuinely conflicted. I told you I was leaning in one direction. Now you know the direction I was leaning in. You guys were of no help. I asked you for your suggestions, and you were all like, oh, I don't know. That's a tough one. Yeah, no shit. That's why I asked you. So thanks for nothing. So we start with the buzzer. Let's see if we can improve from here. We begin with, well, this is an improvement. This is a nice improvement. Trish Stratus, the always lovely Trish Stratus, the Hall of Famer Trish Stratus, the former women's champion Trish Stratus. She can be booked on my show anytime. Trish, one-on-one with Kairi Sane. We have improved. Boy, there's a lot of heat now. Maze is getting a lot of heat in the chat for making that suggestion, but I think I like that suggestion. So you can thank Maze for that. Maybe we'll shoot for 500 on the like skull on Friday night. Main event time. Men's Be the Booker. We need to break the tie. Can we break the tie and get ourselves a bell? We have Bob Backlund, WWF champion Bob Backlund. Crazy Bob. I feel bad now saying that because for those who don't know, Bob, and it's not a new diagnosis. Apparently he's been suffering now for a few years from this, but for those who don't know, Bob Backlund is dealing with dementia. He lived in Connecticut for years and years and years. And I forgot what part of Connecticut it was. Everybody around town knew him. I think he owned an oil company at one point. Anyway, apparently he had to move out of Connecticut some time ago. He's living in Florida with his sister who's looking after him. But now when I say Crazy Bob, it's like, it just kind of reminds me of the fact that he's got dementia now and I feel bad. But the Crazy Bob character, man, when he snapped in 94, he did some tremendous work with that character. I can already tell, though, I'm on the fence about how this is going to end. Really depends on who we land on here. Bob Backlund. One-on-one with the Demon, Finn Balor. I'm very curious how that match would have played out. On one side of the ring, you have Finn Balor, chiseled, right? He's got the six-pack abs. He's got the paint on, that wild, wacky paint all over his body. On the other side of the ring, you have, Bowtie Bob. you have Bowtie Bob Backlund. That is a true clash of styles, is what that is. Yeah, a styles clash to say the least. So Bob would be screaming, whoa, whoa, whoa. He always did that, right? Whoa, whoa. I would like to see that match. I don't know if it would be any good, but I would like to see that match. If I had the chance to book that match as the main event on my show, I would. I would do it. The Demon, that's right. The Demon against the guy who looks like he would knock on your door, passing out literature to come to their local chapel meeting for some kind of weird religious cult. Anyway, Ed Swoggle Make the goal 420 for iced mocha lot of weed. Maybe I would if he actually pops up again. We haven't heard from him in a while. I hope he's doing okay. And Patricia as well. If Patricia still happens to be around. We haven't heard from Patricia. I don't know that we ever will. But thank you for the suggestion. May I interest you, sir, in a vacuum cleaner? Yeah, Bob looks like the kind of guy who would go around selling encyclopedias to people. That's what happened with my family. Remember, my mom many years ago bought a set of Encyclopedia Britannicas from somebody who, I don't know if they came to the house or they cornered her at the mall or something, but all I know is we ended up with a whole volume of dictionaries. Not dictionaries, encyclopedias. Bob Backlund probably has a whole fucking volume of dictionaries in his house. But we had a whole bunch of encyclopedias. And for the most part, they just sat there. You know, it was just like background. You see them in the background, you know? I think I used them for a school project once. Do they even sell encyclopedias anymore? Everything's digital. Everything's online. I remember it was such a big deal when they went to CD-ROM. Did I watch Deadpool and Wolverine? No. Although I heard apparently it's already made $1 billion, or it's about to hit $1 billion, and I don't think it's been out for that long, so apparently a lot of people are seeing it. I'm not one of them. I don't remember the last Marvel movie I saw. Did I really used to crash into the recliner head-on being He-Man? Yes. I damaged the recliner. I ripped that thing to shreds because I would just run as fast as I could, as fast as my feet would carry me. Through the living room, I would take a header right into the recliner. I'd have my He-Man sword. I would scream, "I have the power," and I would go running across the living room. True story. Definitely watch it. Deadpool. Yeah, but don't I have to watch the previous movies? I feel like anytime these Marvel movies come out now, I feel so left out because I just feel like I'm missing so much. There's been so many of them. I can't possibly go back and catch up on everything. I hate watching a movie and not picking up on like past references or, you know, little callbacks to past movies. Like, I feel like I need to go back and watch everything, and it's just too overwhelming. I still haven't watched The Batman, for fuck's sake. I did, however, for the first time, I don't know how I missed this because I'm a huge John Carpenter guy. I just watched John Carpenter's Vampires for the first time yesterday. As my jaw was throbbing from my root canal, I just wanted to lay down and watch something, and it was on Netflix. And it's actually leaving Netflix. At least here in the US, it's leaving Netflix as of August 31st. Of course, if you have ExpressVPN, you don't got to worry about that because you could always find it on another Netflix in some other country. But yeah, I watched Vampires. It has James Woods, Daniel Baldwin. Yeah, you could tell. They really went with the A-list here. But James Woods, Daniel Baldwin, and I think those are the main names in the movie. Yeah, I enjoyed it for what it is. Carpenter, his movies, it just has a certain vibe. Like if you watch a John Carpenter movie, you know what I'm talking about. It just has a certain vibe, the music. You can tell, okay, this is a Carpenter film. And I love it. I love it. So I thought it was okay. As a vampire movie, I thought it was good. Nothing special. I just can't believe I never saw it before. Approaching 420. Are we not already up to 420? 416? How are we not at 420 yet? Come on, man. We got 4 more to go. 4 more likes. Mission to Mars was even it's not Mission to Mars, it was Ghosts of Mars. I actually like that movie. Natasha Henstridge in that movie. Oh my God. Oh my God. One of the hottest women I have ever seen on film. And I don't just mean in that movie. I'm not talking about like in that movie per se, just back then. Any of the movies that she was in, she was a knockout. But yeah, they had Jason Statham. That was like the first movie I ever saw Jason Statham in. Fucking Ice Cube is in that movie. I liked it. I'm not saying they're great movies, but I like them. I saw, Mr. Dynamite says, I saw Escape from LA before I saw Escape from New York. You and me both. I saw Escape from LA on DVD when I was in college, and I had never seen Escape from New York before. I saw it years later. Again, LA, I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's a great movie, but I enjoyed it. Honestly, it was more of a parody than anything else. If you really pay attention to the movie, it's more of a parody than anything else. Yep, Ice Cube and Jason Statham were in Ghosts of Mars, which I think has a horrible rating on IMDb, but fuck IMDb. Like what you like. That's what I say. Kelly Kapowski was a knockout. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Kelly Kapowski was a knockout, but you know who I loved also on that show? I loved Lisa Turtle. Lark Voorhees was a beautiful girl. Anaconda. Oh my God, Anaconda. I saw that too. Anaconda. That movie freaked me out. That was a young Jennifer Lopez and John Voight. Oh God, who was the guy in there? The guy with the red hair. Eric. What the hell's that guy's name? He was in that movie too. Fuck, I forgot his last name. Help me out. Eric something. What was his name? He got bit on the neck. He spent most of the movie laying in the boat. Which was the better snake movie? Anaconda or Boa? I never saw Boa, so I'll say Anaconda. Stoltz, thank you. Eric Stoltz. Eric Stoltz is in that movie. Yeah, no, I never saw Boa, and you know what? Lake Placid. I enjoyed Lake Placid. That was not a snake movie, though. Those were the giant alligators in the lake that Betty White is feeding. I like Lake Placid. Ice Cube was it? Oh, that's right. Was Ice Cube in Anaconda? I think he was. Boy, Ice Cube was in a lot of things, wasn't he? That man gets around. I guess I do. I like Ice Cube movies, says SNK fan. I guess so. I guess I'm an Ice Cube guy. I didn't even realize it. Wow. Snakes on a Plane. Believe it or not, I never saw that. I never saw Snakes on a Plane. Friday, well, yeah, Friday, of course. Guy who played Jimmy King from Ready to Rumble was in Lake Placid. Yes. Oliver Twist. What the what the fuck is his name? Oh man. Solo and Ice Cube would be a great tag team. Or Solo and Ice. Solo and Ice. I thought you were saying that me and Ice Cube would make a great tag team. Someone should let Ice Cube's son on Twitter. He's a big wrestling fan. Let him know. I'm a big fan of his dad's work, apparently. Oliver Platt. Thank you. God damn it. I said Oliver Twist. Oliver Twist. Oliver Platt. That's the actor that you're thinking about. Oliver Twist. Man, I must be in more pain than I thought. Okay. On that note, I'm going to get out of here. Thank you guys for hanging out with me on a Wednesday night. Probably had more fun talking about movies here than I did watching their show, but it wasn't a bad show. Not a great show either, but not a bad show. Better than last week. Hopefully next week will be better than this week. And then we have All In. So be well, stay safe. Come on back on Friday night. We'll see if we jack up the likes goal. Thanks to Maze the Great. You better bring those thumbs. If you want to be the booker, you better bring those thumbs on Friday night. That is when I will see you next. Take care, guys. I'll see you Friday night.